Okay, stand by, John, if you were joining us now, is James Mills. I was chatting to him a little bit earlier on. He is part of the Education Maintenance Allowance team, representatives, if I can put it like that. James, first of all, explain to us
Save
what
EMA campaign.
Okay, just tell us what the EMA is, the Education Maintenance Allowance.
Education maintenance allowance are payments of up to £30 a week to people from low-income households to stay on further education, post-16 education, 16 to 18. You get them if you come from a household under £31,000 a year, and you get the top rate, which is £30 a week. If you come from a household under £21,000 a year, 4 out of 5 people on EMAs are from that bracket, from the top rate. Most top rate people are from the lowest incomes in our country, from £21,000 a year. 600,000, just over 600,000 recipients of EMA in England alone, who will see that now go after the CSR. Before the election, David Cameron, Michael Gove all said they supported EMA. Michael Gove even promised he wouldn't scrap EMA, and they've all gone against that.
Yeah, we're talking in acronyms, so for the benefit of our viewers, the Education Maintenance Allowance is now going to be scrapped as a result of the government's comprehensive spending review and saying that there isn't enough money to go around anymore. Where are we going to make the cuts? And one of the cuts that they had previously promised to keep the education maintenance allowance, that's going. Is that basically what you're saying?
That's correct, yes. And it's the poorest the poorest teenagers in our country. So you have to literally, from a household that earns under £21,000 a year, to receive EMA, the top rate of EMA, and 80%, as I said, are on that. So that's, and that's just their families as well. And it's the economy, it's economics of the madhouse, because we're going to have less jobs for unskilled people as we reach 2020, according to the Treasury. Yet we're going to try and increase the amount of young people who are unskilled. So it is completely balmy, and there's no real logic behind it other than sort of ideological reasons of disliking EMAs, and that's why they've cut it. And if you go to the saveema.co.uk website, you'll see Andy Burnham endorses our campaign as well, the Shadow Secretary of State for Education.
But some of the protests that we've seen today, that's not really helping the cause, is it?
No. To be totally honest with you, it's sort of, if anything, I find it sort of annoying, because 90%, and I mean 90%, if you go to the back or anywhere where I was in the campaign, I didn't see any bit of violence whatsoever. Everyone was all peaceful protests. I mean, the age ranges, they went from being from the 40s down to their teens, and because there's obviously families as well as lecturers who are affected by this from the EMA's point of view, because also the families are reliant on this. And if you go to our website, you'll see some of the comments on our website page, and they're really heart-rendering, of people and their families and parents and teachers who contacted us saying this is going to be a massive blow to us and our lifestyle, and there'd be less people going on to further education and onto higher education. So less skilled people in our economy, less people are going to be paying more taxes, and instead you'll be having these people go on JSA, or as it currently stands, it's harder if you're under 18 to get JSA. But no, on the protest today, I didn't actually see much, I didn't see any violence whatsoever. I didn't see anything bad. 90% of that demonstration is done. I hope you do focus on the friendly part of it in your broadcast today, because I mean there was a lot of very positive campaigners out there today, and a lot of people banging the drum for the Save EMA campaign, because it really needs more people to pay attention to it.
A lot of criticism of Nick Clegg today. Do you think that's justified?
With criticism of Nick Clegg going back on his commitments. Well, to be honest, I don't particularly. I think he had a straight back towards EMA, but I'd say, like I would to David Cameron and Michael Gove, if you make a promise before an election, you don't keep it, then people are going to be very upset with you for that. And if Nick Clegg especially, and I used to go to University of St Andrews up in Scotland, and Ming Campbell was the local MP there, and he used to trade off on it quite well on the higher education thing. He stuck to his guns, and credit where credit's due. Nick Clegg's got Sheffield Hallam University in his constituency, I believe, and he's gone around there selling lots of students that what he's going to do, he's not going to raise tuition fees, and he'd oppose tuition fees, and to completely do a U-turn on that, I think it is dishonourable. And I think if you go back to what they do on EMAs, I think it is very dishonourable, and we can see where it starts and begins. So it's up to debate. But if you go into an election promising one thing and doing the complete opposite, you lose any sort of moral standing in the eyes of most electors. And there's lots of people I met today, and lots of people have actually written to my campaign, even Conservative Future people who are like sort of young conservatives and liberal youth, who've contacted me saying it's a disgrace, and they think of quitting their parties on education maintenance allowances alone. It's a big issue. Like I said, in London, 100,000 people, just under 100,000 people are affected by this. In the Northwest, again, another 100,000 people are going to be affected by that, and that's EMAs. Now in higher education, that's even more people. So, and I said, if you can imagine people from the Conservative Conservative future and people from Liberal youth, as well as Labour young students, contacted me. So it's a cross-party appeal. There's lots of people I don't think this government have realised are affected by EMAs. You know, people have this very sort of limited view. But if you're on a £21,000 a year, that's a lot of money. That's £30 a week you've got to now find. And if you're from a very low-income family, that's a very hard thing to do. And I can speak personally. I was on EMAs at my old school. 50% of the sixth form was on EMAs. Now, I'm the first generation of my family to go to university. Previously, it didn't happen in my family. And I hate to think that kids just like me are not going to have that chance. And that's before we talk about the debt that they have to incur if they go to university. The ability to be able to do it is being literally eroded by this government. It's actually disgraceful. I think Andy Burnham, in his video on our website, actually puts the argument across very well. And he says they've gone back on a commitment, and it's a disgrace that they've done, this government.
Okay, James, thanks very much.
Thank you.
Joe Riley is one of 600.